This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
And Doc, as you know, one of our fine sponsors at the DSP Network is The Athletic, premium coverage for passionate Detroit sports fans. Listeners of this week's episode of Two Bad Hombres can get 20% off the first year of an annual subscription by visiting theathletic.com/DSP.
I was trying to get it how I live. I want them dead presidents. I want to pull up, head spin, get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. Get it, get fly. I got 6
And we are still not tired on this week's episode of Two Bad Hombres. I am your host, Vito Geronimo Church, along to my usual sidekick and broadcast partner in fun. That is a Doc from Doc and Jack, John Charles Macaroon. John, how are you doing?
Vito, you moonlighting on me?
I am now, officially. I have found a bigger, better, and specifically better-looking co-host than you in Blair Glover, who's been on these airwaves before, on this very podcast, too, in the past.
Very interesting stuff. I know you came to me. You were nice. You were respectful. You came and said, look, there's this project I want to get involved in. Is it okay with you? And I said, of course, Vito. You can do whatever. You're not locked into no compete clause because here's the thing. I'm smart. I'm wise to the game now. I could be jealous. I could be somebody that sits here and goes, Vito, you got a new co-host. You've upgraded. One, you're hanging out with Blair, so that's not a problem in my book. I think that's smart. Two, the studio is nice there in Troy, and it's an opportunity for you to expand your horizon, so I'm cool with that. And three, it's an opportunity for you then to repay the favor for what I've done for you by inviting me on the show, and I've already invited myself. I mean, I didn't need, more than a conversation to say, look, oh, great, the studio looks good. I checked out the first video. I watched the entire 30 minutes of you and Blair debating Michigan athletics and things like that, and it was a very interesting show. I was engaged. I watched it via the YouTube platform, and it was awesome. And I'm like, okay, when are you going to invite me, Vito? And so, obviously, I got bumped out by a bigger and better guest that you might be interviewing, and that's fine with me, no problem, but any opportunity, obviously, that you take, you've done really, like I said, I think I've told you this 1,000 times, all the joking aside, all the perfectionist nonsense that you hear from me is just me being me, and you get it, but what you do outside of here is really awesome. I mean, the free press, the work you do with a lot of our sponsors, the interviews that you've gotten, I would not have dreamed yet. I still have yet to interview a professional football player live and in person. You've done that multiple times now. People know you. You're the mayor of the media, and it's great. So I don't lock you down for nothing, and so it's great that you're doing this. And if you're doing 3 with me, and you're going to do maybe 1 with Blair, and maybe you can even get to host with a bigger person, maybe even get on the ticket, and I can be a regular on there. Maybe
you would love that, too.
I could be a regular in studio there. I can be, 1 hour a week with the doc, and we can have some fun. But that's what it's about when you say build relationships. I would not limit you just to do it with me. I mean, like, seriously? No, I'm humble. I let you go out and do the things that you want to do. I'm not locking you into this because I set the ground rules. Obviously, there's rules to it. I'm not going to just let you go out there and, take advantage financially over the network. Obviously, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Well, I do need to make some money
Of
here,
course.
and I don't make a bunch of bucks here at the DSP Network. And do we really even have a contract signed for me? Yeah, I'm
Yes,
gonna try to look.
yes.
I'm gonna try to make sure because if I don't have a contract, I'm out of here right now. I might just run out of this studio as we're recording this, Doc.
Formally, yes, you're locked in for everybody to know until December 31st when a deal that you signed for a year expires, and hopefully you can renew the deal because
Hopefully, I'm good enough where you allow me to renew it too at the DSP Network.
I think that, like you said, because I asked you and I said, how are these relationships working? You said, barring Vito, making a fool of themselves via social media, maybe this week coming up when you have more opportunity to do stuff, maybe, you might burn bridges or anything. But you said, look, if I don't burn any bridges, then the relationships that we got going strong should continue. And I'm happy to hear that. I think it's going great because we're very accommodating as a podcast network, and our sponsors are amazing. They don't pull too many punches. They're just like, boom, we got a great guest to interview them, and we handle our business. So I'm very proud, long story short, that you take advantage of your opportunities. And anytime you get your ass on TV, why not do it, man? It's fun. It's good stuff, man.
I know you love getting on TV yourself. You always find a way. When you're at a sporting event, at a wrestling event, WWE, whatever this may be, right? You're at the event and you're trying to get on TV and you get your ass seen. You get your face seen because you love the bright lights, don't you? And I want to say 2 things. You made sure to bring up that you do more shows with me than Blair does and anybody else does. You do 3, she does 1. So you overpower her in that category. Also, I wanted to say that I have multiple co-hosts because I like doing it with multiple partners.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get that?
Do you need a lot
I
of
like
coffee?
I like having multiple partners.
Do you need a lot of coffee to be able to perform at the level that you're used to?
You know what? I don't need the coffee anymore. We should talk about that too.
We will.
I've drank coffee a lot lately, probably too much, and we'll get into that later on in this week's edition of Two Bad Hombres.
But real quickly, what's the project about? What are you doing with Blair? We're talking about it. And how is it that people can see it?
Well, it's a TV/YouTube show. It's done through this local Troy TV station, and it's broadcast like in different cities throughout the Metro Detroit area too. So my face will be seen by multiple now people throughout multiple cities, and I like that as well. Trying to become more and more multidimensional, getting my face seen on TV, trying to do TV hits, TV segments to show that I can do this. You know, I don't get too nervous, don't start sweating through my clothes and have to change my clothes, mid-appearance on TV or something, or start stuttering up a storm. And hey, people do that. We all have nerves, and I do as well, and I get jittery even maybe doing an audio recording here on the DSP network if we're interviewing somebody really, really big. But not with a dog, trust me. That's another story, and we're just, it's become dull. I was joking about that on this week's episode of Tiger Stock, too. So tune into that, by the way, from earlier this week. But anyways, it's a TV production, and it looks like a radio show simulcast studio. So it is a TV studio, but also it has the mics, lovely, bigger mics than this in the DSP Network studios in Sterling Heights. But these DSP Network studios are quite lovely too, and do us justice, do the job correctly and effectively. And also there in Troy, I mean, the mics are a little bit, I guess, higher end like you were describing earlier, but both are very good, very classy there, very classy here, very professional there, very professional here. And just a little bit of a different setting, smaller studio, but it has all the bells and whistles, and I've loved it so far, and I have a great partner in Blair Glover, so I can't complain, Doc.
You know, you're not taking my advice and doing it every week, but you're trying your best with your busy schedule to air it every 2 weeks.
Bi-weekly right now, and then it goes on their YouTube channel. I think they have a YouTube channel. It goes on Blair's YouTube channel, and I wanted to really make it into a YouTube show. And we're going to try to do that, become more and more video-based with the show, so we showcase our talents that way, and it's just another outlet to promote the show. And guess what? A lot of people are watching YouTube stuff nowadays, aren't they? And she's promoted it on Twitter, on Instagram. I shared it on Instagram, so you can see it on my Instagram page at Vito Jerome or Vito Churko. I think it's just Vito Churko. And then her Instagram page on her YouTube page, and we're trying to promote it to the masses because we want to show that we are pretty too. We look pretty good on TV, and we can talk, make sentences, talk English pretty well, articulate pretty well, and have interesting, exciting discussions for the most part, too, like we do here, audio-wise, and there, video-wise.
Very good stuff. I can't wait to continue to watch every other week or so. You can find it by following Vito at Vito Jerome, or follow Blair Glover, a great, talented individual, at Blair On Air 1. Very good stuff, Vito. All right, now we got to talk about something that's kind of taken over the news. As we're recording this is Saturday, but we're recording this earlier in the week. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook right now is sitting there in front of Congress, in front of a lot of people, in front of a lot of important, prominent people, and he's got to defend a really serious allegation and a really serious revelation about Facebook. And many people started, I don't know if you've seen maybe a couple months back where people started to post like these long kind of disclaimers where it would say, I do not give Facebook the right to sell my stuff, and people would laugh and go, don't fall for conspiracy theories. Well, in the end, it turned out to be a little bit true. Facebook would sell your information to people in terms of, gaining revenue on their end and letting people's private information get out there. And people would start recognizing it, and more people would message us and go, you know what? I searched like microphones in the internet. And all of a sudden, 3 days later, you would see an ad on Facebook when you were on your own page for a microphone. And you'd be like, wait a minute. How is that happening? Why is that taking place? Well, it was revealed that several people in the several millions of people's private information was sold to companies without their permission. And Mark Zuckerberg has to face the wrath of people. A lot of people have utilized the hashtag in a movement called Delete Facebook in order to really hit home a message to people like Mark Zuckerberg and social media. Look, it's great. It's an important entity, but you have to respect our privacy. You have to be willing to draw a line. You can't sell my information to other people. Now, for me, though, I don't go on there all that much. I just use it now as a way to promote the podcast on one end, the one page. And then the other end, I have very limited friends, and I just post videos of the kids.
That's true that you have very limited friends. I can tell.
It's like 100 friends max.
Well, I can realize why. Anyways.
The big complaint that my family has is, and nowadays people do it, they set the disclaimer, don't post this on video, don't post this. And that's fine. I think it's cute. I think that when you have somebody like me who's excitable and wants to share what's going on in his life to a certain degree. Sometimes if you don't want to and you're not comfortable, maybe you've told people you're going to be somewhere and in the end you didn't invite certain people, you don't want to post publicly where you're at. I get the whole notion of social media. I use it to my advantage. I'm not out there and I have serious boundaries with it. I put pictures of the kids. I put pictures of me having fun. And that's about it. I don't post my political beliefs. I don't post things like, oh my God, all caps, Vito decided to do another show with somebody else. It's so hurtful. How could he dare decide to not do a podcast with, the guy who started it, who's given him every opportunity to earn money and not invite him on the show and things like that. And I don't post big, long diatribes. Although I could, I have a lot of things in this world to complain about, but I do not do that. Facebook is fun. And so when you start doing that, there are people who literally use Facebook as their therapy, as their diary. And I see it because I befriend people who I have no clue on the podcast side, and I read, terrible stuff, and I read like heartbreaking stuff regarding people who, are going through nasty divorces, and they talk about what the other party's doing to them with the kids, or how devastating their life is with their job, or bad luck that they experience, all on Facebook. And you know what I do? Click. I don't read that stuff too much. I've seen it. I don't like anymore. I used to kind of, when people first started doing it, kind of be like, what? And kind of get the gossip and the juiciness out of it.
You like the little gossip. You do. You like the TMZ side of things on Facebook.
But you know what? Nowadays, no. I just go to Facebook for my friends on my personal page, and I use Twitter to promote the podcast and banter sports. That's my addiction, is Twitter, and not too much Snapchat, Instagram, and things like that. But with social media, when you're that social in a company like Facebook and you're doing stuff like that, it's really bad. And I do hope that it does give people pause in terms of how they use it. Maybe think before you post. Think before you reveal all your personal information. Use Facebook for fun, what it was intended for, to catch up with your friends, to see what they're doing, to, have a good time, post fun pictures. Just kind of remove and filter out the drama base, especially with people getting bullied on there. I mean, I read the comments too. It's not just the post. Sometimes the comments can be nasty, like, you skank, or you dirty person, how could you think that way? If you want to sit and entertain yourself, read some comments on Facebook. They can be vile, they can be nasty, and it's one in which I think if people really scaled back and use Facebook for what it can be fun. But right now, the vast majority of people, I think, misuse Facebook, and then Facebook, in turn, misused it as a company and sold my my information. But in the end, I don't really care. I mean, I'm not going to go buy this stuff anyway. I haven't been directly affected, but what do you think about it?
I hate when I see stuff posted on my wall like, Vito is such a skank. I'm like, Come on, guys, I don't want to see that anymore.
Right.
Really? Come on. I love how you were talking like that. Just I wanted to talk like that. Where the heck did that come from? But anyways, I just like posting on Facebook, I'm taking a dump. Yeah, I'm in the bathroom right now. Right. Like, who the heck uses their Facebook for that? Think before you tweet on Twitter. Think before you post and share stories on Facebook. It's like, I don't get it. It doesn't add up to me. Why is it so important to post what you're doing every single minute or where you are? And that's where it becomes dangerous, like you said. Why would you share where you are? Especially when you probably want to be at a place that you don't want other friends to come to. You don't want those people there, right? Because they're not supposed to be there. So why do you share it on Facebook? I don't get people that tag where they are in a post. Like, why do you got to let everybody know where you are and what you're doing nonstop? All day long, 24/7.
You're not that much of a loser, are you?
Right, I think you are a loser if you're doing that nonstop on Facebook. Who has the time for that? Who at least makes the time for that? I don't want to make the time. Even if I have the time, and maybe I have some days here and there or on the weekend where I do have a Saturday or Sunday where I'm not doing anything. I'm just relaxing, rolled up on the couch watching TV, Netflix, and chilling. But the thing is, I'm not going to go on Facebook then and just post all about what I'm doing that day, that I'm bored, that I need friends, and then it sounds sad. Or like you said, people are posting about, they're airing out their dirty laundry about their divorce proceedings and how that's going and how she left me for this other dude, for this bigger, more chiseled dude. I mean, it's like, why are you posting all of that and airing out your dirty laundry? I don't get it. But this data breach, now on a serious note, is a serious issue. It is. And I've heard recently, I've read up on this, that what you've been messaging people through Facebook Messenger, you know what that is. Obviously, you've messaged people. I think people know what that is. That is being reused by Facebook at times and against you. Like, you don't even know what they're using it for, but it can be repurposed and reused without your knowledge, your consent. Think about that. What you're messaging people on Facebook can be reused by Facebook for some other purpose. And you as an individual that sent the initial message, the message that is being reused, repurposed by Facebook is being sent, you don't even know to who, and without your consent. How bad is that? And that is a breach of, well, your rights, right? I mean, it's a breach of your privacy. That's what it is. And it's exposing something that you only sent to that one individual maybe. And now it's out there being aired out to the masses.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is right. That should not be happening. And it's happening at large.
And Mark Zuckerberg has to face the wrath of Congress. He said earlier in his talks, he said, look, you can't build a company from your basement and your dorm room and not make mistakes. But on the scale of this, you look at it and you go, you got to determine what level of maliciousness there was, what level of blame you give him, because of the fact, look, when you are worth, billions and billions of dollars and you are a public company, you got to find a way to serve the public correctly. And so I'm glad Congress is going to talk to him. So the question we got to ask before the break is, should Facebook be regulated? Should then the government get involved and say, look, report to us, we're going to monitor what you're doing? Because by and large, Snapchat, Instagram, YouPorn, Facebook, they've not been regulated.
What did you say? What did you throw in there really quick?
Oh, did I say that out loud?
Oh, no.
Oh, wait, sorry, I said that out loud. Never mind, I meant Facebook, Instagram, RedTube, places like that have to be...
They should all be regulated now.
Should a place like Facebook be regulated?
Wow, a lot of social media outlets, so-called, thrown out there. But I think it should be, because if my cute butt photos are being sent to other people out there on the interweb, outside of the people that I intended on sending my cute butt photos or cute body shots to, think about it. It should be regulated for that purpose, but that's a joking matter. But think about other stuff that we post and share on Facebook that we send to others through Facebook Messenger that we don't want getting out there to the masses, that is now being released to other people that we don't want having their hands on. Think about it. We want our hands on it, and maybe the people who we sent the messages to have their hands on it, but not everybody to have their hands on it and to be free to do whatever they want with what we're sharing, what we're messaging people with my cute body shots. Why would I want that thrown out there on the interweb and being available to everybody to see and then being used against me? And like you said, we're searching for stuff on Facebook and through the interweb, through Google and whatnot, and then it's resurfacing on Facebook. Ads are popping up in that manner, like showcasing what we just searched, like golf clubs or something, or mics for the studio, and we're seeing ads about that on Facebook. That is so odd. And guess what? We don't want that being owned by Facebook. That's our privacy, right? That's what we're searching, and we know when we search for stuff on Google, I guess it's going to be out there. People can find out about it. But Facebook as a social media outlet, as a website, how is that getting access to our info, to what we're searching? And that's where Facebook is crossing the line, and where you would have to believe, I think a lot of people would agree with us, Doc, that it should be regulated, or at least with me, that it should be regulated. I think you agree with that, right? That it should be.
Let's do a test. I'm going to go to your Facebook page and see the last couple of messages that you've posted here and see if you are oversharing or doing anything like that. Let's see what the last couple of messages you've sent were.
Would you let a woman put a strap-on and do you from behind?
Vito! That's a question you ask your Facebook friends? My God, that's a little bit salacious. Okay, let's keep scrolling down here.
When's the last time you were with a woman?
Man, Vito, it seems like your page has a theme here that is a little bit kind of X-rated. Is something?
Well, I think
somebody
somebody sent me that message. I didn't send that message to somebody, but somebody sent me that message that, when's the last time you've been with a woman? I think that's what it was, the other way around.
Okay.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Man, Vito.
No, I might have asked that. I think I got that asked in my direction a lot more than I asked that to somebody else.
Are you searching for like content for the show? I think you kind of can scale back a little bit. You can just text me kind of show ideas. You don't got to kind of throw out these kind of poll questions. Stick to sports. I mean, my God, why are you kind of going a little bit X-rated in terms of your Facebook? I thought you were a little bit more PC than that. Is this why I think you're one of the pages that doesn't show up on my feed a whole heck of a lot?
That's why now you know you've been hiding it for a long time, or now you should be hiding it if you haven't yet. And that's why a lot of people, I guess, have unfollowed me, have blocked me, just for those crazy, salacious, mind-in-the-gutter moments and posts and commentary, stuff that shouldn't be shared on Facebook, huh? So I'm not totally PC, I guess. According to Howard Stern. That was all courtesy of Howard Stern. Funny stuff there, too, but I try not to be that bad.
One last post, I think, from Dom.
Oh, God.
I got a solution for you, and you can take it or leave it. If you want bigger genitals, measure from a different place.
Well, I'll just say that. I'll leave it at this. He needs bigger genitals. Okay, he needs them to become bigger in more way than one. I think he wants them bigger than what he is. Anyways, moving on.
I guess the lesson learned is be responsible with social media and ask questions. And sometimes don't bury your head in the sand. Sometimes these companies that you're using social media might be selling your privacy, might be selling personal information. Yeah. Be careful, in all honesty, with what you put out there via the interwebs. And there are services like, that you pay like $10 a month for, and they can kind of watch your online activity. My identity's been stolen several times, and you can become kind of numb to it, but you want to be careful. You want to advocate for your privacy, especially with your social security number, credit cards. You want to be a lot more careful and proactive before someone steals your identity and racks up $3,000-$4,000 worth of stuff. It's happened to my cousin. It's happened to me. It happens really far more than you would think, and it's really sad, but you got to be careful with what you do online, especially, Vito. I'm going to leave you with probably the best advice before the break, okay? It's a great concept, and I think it's one in which that Toshiba could probably be utilized in a better way too. Alt, Control, Delete, and clear history.
Delete
cache.
Everything. Clear history as much as possible.
Clear
hey,
history.
I've had to do it back in the day. Now I don't because I'm a mature individual, mature 24-year-old, almost 25 years old. 25 years young. So I like
clear the cache, clear that motherfucking history,
yes.
And make sure that nobody sees the shit that you watch on that computer. No doubt about it. And remember, wherever you use Wi-Fi, if you pull up nasty stuff, it shows on that server somewhere that you went there. So if anybody that ever looked at what the hell goes on this Wi-Fi service, damn, they'd be knocking on the door because they'd be like, what the hell are you watching in that office of yours? Like, I got a lot of free time, so, you got to do what you got to do.
I was going to say really quick now, when you're using somebody else's Wi-Fi, though, another server, that server, though, let me just say this. That will be exposed, not you. It looks like that person, that one person with the Wi-Fi server, right?
I've done that.
It looks like, if you're looking up porn or something, then it looks like that person's looking up porn. And you make them look bad, which is hilarious, I think.
Exactly. Or you do some weird, unusual Google searches on someone else's Wi-Fi.
And that's saved up for them. It's always there. Somebody can expose them and think, oh my God, you're into that?
Yeah, exactly.
And make them look creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways.
All right, let's take our first time out. We'll come back. What do you want to accomplish in the second half? What's on your mind?
Talk about my extreme usage of coffee of late and what it's done to me, the pros and cons, and a lot of cons related to my coffee usage. And how about me replacing Ryan Seacrest as the host of American Idol? Maybe it'll be needed sometime soon here, Doc.
Maybe we just need an extra half hour of Roseanne, or just have it air twice a week. Because
Roseanne, killing it in the ratings, huh?
Interesting stuff. We'll talk about that right after this quick timeout. Vito, I want to tell you about our host site, Podomatic.com. It's been fun recording this podcast now. We've recorded, you and I, about 300 podcasts together, combined with Two Bad Hombres and the Tigers Talk podcast, among other various projects. And when we've recorded the podcast, when we've had great interviews, we've uploaded it to one great host site, Podomatic.com. Why do we use them? You record great interviews. You go out there, you hustle. I get great guests. We've developed great relationships in town. And when we have great guests, we take that audio, upload it quickly to Podomatic, and all of our listeners can find it. It's really great. Imagine if we have a guest in the studio and they want to hear it, and we send them a link that gets broken. That would be so embarrassing, right?
It would suck.
It would be embarrassing. Nobody would want to come back on the podcast network. And so if you're looking to start a brand new project, Vito, and you want to have a great host site, Doc, Vito, Adam, Jason, Steve, we're all going to recommend, all the hosts here are going to recommend one host site and one host site alone, Podomatic.com.
Yeah, we coming now.
And I love it so much, Doc, when you make it sound like that. Even a dummy like me, calling me a dummy, inferring that I am a dummy and that I can use Podomatic. So even a dummy like me can use Podomatic, and I love it. We all love Podomatic here. And I used to love coffee, drinking coffee, and a lot of it, 1 cup at least a day. Now it's every other day. I'm trying to weed myself off of it because it's been leading to me becoming jittery, nervous all of a sudden. I don't know if it's anxiety or so-called anxiety attacks, but it's been really bad for me.
What's going on?
I don't know, Howard. I don't know, Doc. I don't know. Help me out here. Teach me something and help me out with my addiction to coffee and getting off of it, getting better.
What started happening? So you were a guy, you've seen me. I started drinking a cup or two during the recordings and things like that. For me, I was always adverse to coffee, even in high school. I'm really surprised, Vito. Some of the clients I work with, or some people that when you go to Starbucks, you see people in line that are like 15 years old, they're ordering Frappuccinos, and you're like, man, these kids are going to be wired. You know, they're already busy as they are, and they're going to be having more caffeine. And so I'm surprised at how liberal some parents are with their kids regarding the use of caffeine. So for me, I never really got into it. I never really liked it. I wasn't into coffee all that much. And then all of a sudden you get older, you start going to grad school and things like that. Didn't get into it a whole heck of a lot, but then I discovered the best thing to do with coffee, creamers.
How you love the creamers. I do too, man.
French vanilla, hazelnut, sometimes like strawberry cheesecake if you want to go a little excited, a little exotic and things like that. But then, for the better part of the time when I was really, really overweight, I drank a lot of coffee with cream. Not Starbucks, nothing like that, just sometimes stuff you make in a Keurig or single serve and you add some cream to it. So that was fine. Then all of a sudden I'd see people and they drink coffee black. And then you go, you know what? I wonder why people like it black. It tastes so bad. And then I started drinking Folgers, Maxwell House, and Keurig coffee black. And I go, you know what? I kind of like black coffee. I like, my go-to is 8 o'clock coffee, ground your own coffee. And once I became exposed to people who taught me about how to ground your own coffee and how to do it properly, man, I became a coffee drinker. And yes, I did at one point have the same thing happen where I started drinking multiple cups with pop. And
you would, really?
I would combine, and it would not be good. My heart would start palpitating a little bit. And so now what I've done is I just drink a small or a medium cup in the morning of Einstein or homemade, and that's it throughout the day. And try to limit caffeine. No caffeine after 6, because if I get a jolt, then I'm staying up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And I didn't like that feeling like you just described of being jittery and things like that. But Vito, if you want to find a business, if you want to tap into a business outside of sports, the coffee business, man, if you can find the next Starbucks, Vito's Blend, that sounds good though, right, man? That's a good idea.
I love Vito's Blend. I think a lot of people like Vito's Blend.
Yeah.
Or should, and I hope. Anyways, I love that Vito's Blend. Hey, it's Vito's Blend starring
exactly.
Vito Jerome Churko. Try out my blend today.
Save me always trying to help you out. But
I like it.
But I'm glad you started to realize that, too much coffee.
Yeah.
There's such a thing in the books as caffeine addiction.
I think I've become addicted. I never thought I would be addicted to anything. I think coffee. I never drank coffee growing up. Never drank it really even in college, Doc. Kind of like you. You said you really didn't even drink it, right? When you were in college.
10 years. Yeah, in my mid to late 20s. Now in the last 10 years, I've been a coffee guy.
So, and I wasn't even drinking a ton of coffee, but I become more and more of that daily coffee drinker. And not even 2 cups a day, but 1 cup, and it's done it to me. Where like I feel nervous all of a sudden, like short breath, like bad. Like this sounds bad. Like I'm making it sound bad, but I think this is really what has happened. A little bit here and there, and gradually it's gotten worse. Where I can't even talk now. It's like I'm this talkative dude. It's like I'm like, what is this? And I'm not even working out or running or anything or doing anything of high physical intensity, nothing like that. And then I get overwhelmed with I don't even know if it's considered anxiety, but nervous jitters, and the jitters just take over my body, and then I can't even talk, or I feel like I can't even do anything and be productive all of a sudden.
What kind of coffee were you drinking?
Basic. I don't even know. In terms of if it's too bold, too strong, it must be too strong for my body. Maybe because I'm a little slender body man. I don't know. Is it because of my height, short stature? I don't know. I think it's more of my weight not being too heavy. I don't know.
Maybe you got to experiment and then drink the same thing but decaf.
God, I got to drink decaf. And I just started drinking decaf. And I've been told just weed yourself off of it. Drink something else like herbal tea, which is more healthy anyways.
Yes.
No caffeine. And I guess the caffeinated coffee was just doing me wrong and doing me dirty, I guess you could say. Yeah. And I have to get myself off of it. And that's why I haven't drank it now consistently as much.
Yeah, 100%. I think you do have to kind of pay attention to that because it's not good for you. Maybe, the caffeine is just too much for your stature. And,
I don't know because I only weigh 105. I'm thinking because of that at least, Doc.
It has to be something. And, you got to be careful with that. And just definitely limit the caffeine. Don't get yourself into a situation where anxiety can really, cause you to have panic attacks and cause you to really limit your day and really hinder the performance of anything that you're trying to do, especially if you're writing or podcasting or anything like that. So, fortunately, Vito, you've been summoned. You've been prescribed to cut off the coffee, and I'm sorry you can't take advantage of it. You got to wean yourself off of it. You are no longer allowed to have coffee, my man. I'm sorry. You can't partake in the activity.
How about decaf?
Go decaf. See if
decaf.
And
we'll see what it does.
Don't they say though
that
decaf is not really totally decaffeinated?
And that's what I thought.
Less,
I just asked somebody, and they told me there's some caffeine in it. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
It's not a lot, but you're absolutely right. And Vito, you got to be careful. That's very interesting that you had that reaction. What's been the worst consequence? Were you in a work setting, or were you talking to a girl and you couldn't perform?
I don't think caffeine will do that to me. I think I could perform if I had to perform in that way. But anyways, outside of that realm or whatever, I've been all right. I think for the most part, it's just I notice And I don't know if it's a shortened breath or it's more of the nervousness. Like I get nervous and I can't be as productive, even talking. Like it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like Vito Jerome Churko. And I noticed it, and it's become more and more apparent to me, and that's why I know I have to weed myself off of coffee. And I'll try the decaf now. I just know it's not completely decaffeinated. There is actually caffeine in decaf. And when this person told me that there was actually caffeine in this decaf coffee, I looked at her like she was talking a foreign language to me. I couldn't believe it once again. So I guess that is the case, and you would think there would be better advertising about that then, that decaf does actually feature some caffeine in it. Because you don't believe that, but I guess it's like Diet Coke. Diet Coke still has some of the caffeine in it, and that's not good for you. So I guess decaf isn't the perfect solution for me, but it would be a start, right, to me weeding myself off of coffee and becoming more and more, or less and less of that avid consumer of coffee and becoming more and more of a consumer of something else. Another healthier option, an alternative such as herbal tea or just something that, I don't know, it's just better for you, right? And doesn't have caffeine. Because I don't need the caffeine, or I need less and less of it. And that's my plan moving forward, is to weed myself off of the caffeine.
Vito, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that you're not able to partake in one of the most enjoyable things that adults can do. But
and I'm no longer an adult. Actually, just strip that from me now, too.
Or you just say to yourself, instead of maybe a full cup, you just go down to a half and you sip it
slowly. I don't
slowly.
drink. The thing is, I am the guy that I'm a nurser. When it comes to drinking beer, drinking coffee, I take like 2 hours to drink my coffee, 1 cup of it. And it's not a huge cup of coffee. It's not a large glass or cup of coffee. It's never been that. I've never been like a big cup of coffee drinker or a 2-cup-a-day drinker. That's the thing which really makes it interesting and weird to me, that I can't even consume like this little cup, just 1 cup of coffee a day. And that's why I'm doing it every other day, and soon enough probably once a week, and then maybe just decaf, and then no decaf at all, and then maybe I'm drinking something healthier, such as herbal tea. And why not do that for my body to keep it fit, trim, and proper, and looking like it does right now, moving forward as well as I get older and older, because I need to keep it in this shape to find a woman one day, right? That's the goal, too.
Okay, Vito, I'm sorry. Keep us posted regarding what you do with the coffee, and if tea, does the job a lot better for you than coffee, man. I'm sorry, but it is nice, man, just to fire up the pot in the morning, have a cup of coffee, get you that jolt of energy that you need, get you through the morning. But yeah, for me, I just cut out the cream, and it's really been a lot better for me. Just drink it black and try your absolute best. From time to time, you do mix it up a little bit, but what you don't want to do is go with the frappuccinos, the high calorie.
Yeah.
You can get into 1,000-calorie drinks and as snacks for kids. I can't believe some people do that. It's just unbelievable. But hey, that's what in a free society, you can be gluttonous if you want to, but not for me, not anymore. Just a cup of coffee a day, but there are some health benefits that are really interesting in terms of coffee, like shooing away cancer, Alzheimer's, things like that. So I wonder if it's true. If that's the case...
Well, thanks, Doug. I'll find out in 20 years or
you'll
something.
find
Thanks,
out.
buddy. Really appreciate it. But anyways, so you don't use creamers? You don't, by the way,
too
with your
much.
coffee? Because
Not
I
anymore.
have. Maybe that's a problem, too, in itself.
Yep.
But moving on from that, that's been a problem for me. Now, American Idol has had a
That's a major
problem,
problem, yep.
with ratings. The Voice on NBC keeps beating American Idol. And maybe Ryan Seacrest has become a problem being the host of American Idol with all his off the field, per se, away from American Idol, away from his show duties, away from Live with Kelly and Ryan. What he's done in the past, too, when he was more of an on-air presence with E, outside of just the red carpet coverage, which he still does for E. And he had something with the makeup artist that has come to light in recent memory. Allegations of him sexually assaulting this makeup artist. So that stuff has kind of tormented American Idol, maybe hurt the ratings, and Katy Perry hasn't been really well received. Some people have called her out for her praising of Hillary Clinton support, and maybe that hurt her and her brand, her image a little bit, and has hurt the ratings subsequently of American Idol too. And I just think, in my own opinion, Dak, that American Idol did not have to be brought back. And why was it brought back? And really, the formula for success of that show back in the day was Simon Cowell and him being so harsh. He made it into what it became, American Idol. And that was when it was the only music and singer competition show on all of network TV. Now there's so many different options for these music / singing competitive shows. Think about it.
Here's
so
the
now
thing,
American Idol has The Voice and other shows competing against it. And I think that's really hurt American Idol.
Here's the thing. I never watched The Voice, and I never really watched American Idol outside of the William Hung era.
Man, you saw that, the funny clips from him singing.
Yes, it was very funny. I did like, the early part of the seasons where they would have the awful people perform. But outside of that, I never really got invested into a whole season ever. I would like the awful performances the first 4 or 5 weeks, and that was it. This reincarnation, I mean, not every show can have the success of a Roseanne and come back to the tune of 19 million people watching it. It just doesn't happen that way. And there are a lot of projects that are brought back, but to be brought back on a different network, I just think that sometimes you are affiliated with the channel that you were on, and that was a Fox show. And it ran its course. I mean, it was a contest show. It was awesome at its time, but when you put something to bed and you bring it back, you got to do something different. And you realize these judges are getting paid like, so much money, $20 million plus, and they keep shuffling it. What was good was the original, panel. You had Paula Abdul, you had Ryan Seacrest, you had the original hosts of that show that were so awesome. And when you don't have Simon Cowell, that was kind of the personality of the show. And so basically it would be like the network without the doc. And if you guys brought it back and decided to do your own thing without me, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same.
It could never be as good. It could never replicate the success that the DSP network has had under your guidance.
It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have the same flair. It wouldn't sound the same. People would be like, it's okay. It sounds professional, but it doesn't have that fanboy, edge. It doesn't have that weird kind of psychological, dorky,
that creepy
fascinating.
voice.
Yeah, it wouldn't have that
bald-headed dude.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like it's him anymore. There's a guy with that bald head.
It wouldn't have its soul. It wouldn't have its melodic voice that puts people in a calm situation. It
or
makes
to
them
sleep.
Makes them want to download further episodes. So I can understand why a show like American Idol lost its soul. It doesn't have its soul in Randy Jackson and Simon Cowell. And Paula Abdul, I think that was just one of the great panels on there. And Simon Cowell was ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
It was great, right? It was a great time. That's stuff that we all wanted. We all wanted to hear that brash British dude kind of rip on people and things like that. And that was new at the time. Now it's just a shell of itself, and I don't even watch it anymore. I don't even know what time it airs. I couldn't tell you. If you asked me and you said, Doc, I'm going to give you $1,000, tell me when it airs, I'd be like, shit, I don't know. I don't know when it airs. I know Roseanne's on Tuesday. I know a couple shows air here and there, but the shows I watch are sports-related and our sports radio show simulcast. That's about it. I don't watch news that much anymore. I watch Kimmel as my late-night guy. Sometimes I watch some of the specialty news shows like the 80s and things like that, docuseries on the news, but I don't watch half-hour news programs. I don't watch CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. I listen to the radio, music, podcasts, YouTube, and wrestling, and that's my entertainment right now. I don't get into Roseanne. I didn't watch. I have Hulu. I might check out why people are watching it, but I get a sense of just nostalgia. People kind of want to see what they're saying, and I don't, right now, I haven't tapped into why Roseanne has had the following it's had. But for me, Vito, I'm busy. You know that. Got to keep it moving with the podcast, the kids, trying to double-check the work that you're doing. So I got to keep it up, man. I don't have time for American Idol. It's just not anywhere near. I would say there could be 1,000 other choices on Netflix that I would rather watch than American Idol, and that's where it's at.
And then Katy Perry's making like an enormous amount of money, millions of dollars, like $19 million. Ryan Seacrest is making tens of millions of dollars too. And then the ratings aren't there, and not every reboot works. And I think you have to reflect upon how great that original judging panel was, consisting of Paula Abdul, like you said, Simon Cowell, so brash, and then Randy the dog, right? Jackson. He was always saying, "You're my dog," right? I mean, that became iconic. Simon Cowell became iconic, and then Paula Abdul kind of became iconic for being the stupid voice on the judging panel, right? And the nice, kind, considerate voice. And then you would see her and Simon get into disputes, and then Simon and her had like this sexual tension, and that was great and made American Idol a hit as well. And I know you've brought back the original host, and Ryan Seacrest, who had a co-host, by the way, in the first season of American Idol back in the day.
So you think you could do a better job? What would you do differently to spice it up? What would you do as a host?
I know there's no sexual assault allegations of me out there, so I know I have that working in my favor. But I don't know what I would do different than him, but maybe I would be just at this point, a different spin on things. Just having me there, a fresh voice, and maybe, they tried the fresh voice and voices with the judging panel, but I think they've tried that before too. They tried that towards the end of the first iteration, right, of American Idol. And it didn't work. They tried out these big names. Jennifer Lopez was on there. Mariah Carey was on there. Ellen DeGeneres even was on there at one point. Guess what? None of those voices mattered and did anything to move the needle in terms of ratings. And the ratings just went downhill season by season as the original iteration of the show ended. The ratings weren't there anymore. They plummeted, right? They went hugely downhill. So now you bring the show back when the ratings weren't good anyways in the last 2 to 3 seasons of American Idol, and you bring it back for the second incarnation, the reincarnation of American Idol, and it just doesn't have, I don't think it's going to move the needle as much in this day and age because of all the competition out there. Of these other singer competition shows, there's too many other options, a myriad of options now, including The Voice, which just rakes up when it comes to the ratings. And American Idol can't even come close to The Voice.
You can do better than that.
There's nothing there, and American Idol will never be what it once was, and there was no reason to bring it back and then to put it on ABC, which is Disney, right? Friendly and family-oriented, and then you have Katy Perry just kissing guys, by the way, on this iteration of American Idol. Like, she's making guys feel awkward, like she kissed a guy who's a young dude, like a 17-year-old, kissed him square on the lips and surprised him with the kiss, and the guy had never been kissed before. So that was his first kiss. He didn't expect it to come, and guess what? He wasn't a fan of it. Like, they asked him the day after some show, and he said he wasn't a fan of it. So that comes off as kind of creepy, and Katy Perry, why are you doing that? And she's bringing more attention to the show for that than the show is getting for the singers and the talent on the show and how well the judges have, come together and the chemistry there between Ryan Seacrest and the judges and all of the talent being showcased. And it's just not the same. It's not moving the needle. And the ratings, I think, will just continually go downhill until it's canceled. I don't think it will last past this first season of this reboot.
Before we get out of here,
I have just one question for you.
what's your plans for this weekend? You going to get some?
My plans for this weekend will not consist of that, probably. I will be at Mount Clemens at the Orleans bar, but getting some of what? Can you elaborate and specify?
How's the things going in terms of the love department? Did you further advance your cause with the ladies you've been talking to?
Well, I've been on Tinder on and off. I mean, that helps, and then it's not helpful. So it goes in and out for me when it comes to there is some productivity, there is some momentum built, and then there's no momentum, and there's nothing there. And then I'm just desperate and by myself, lonely at night with nobody to call or text.
What's your match ratio statistic in terms of Tinder?
Match ratio. I mean, I swipe every other day, let's say, like I drink coffee and will no longer drink coffee as such. But Tinder probably will still be that. Maybe I'll, bring that down to twice a week. But anyways, in terms of how many matches I get per swipe, let's say I get 2 matches for every 10 swipes. No, 2 matches for every 15, which isn't great, but it's something for me. I got to work with what I have to offer to the ladies, and I think I have something, and hopefully it's considered something of premium caliber, high caliber. I don't know if it is, but hey, I got to believe that, and I'm still cocky at times. I'm confident, let's say, and I try to exude the confidence when I'm talking to you, when I'm talking to the ladies. So I hope the ladies see that and know that I'm a confident dude. I'm doing something big, kind of big here at least, right? At the DSP network, I have somewhat of a TV show now with the famous Blair Glover. I'm always, doing my podcast with you, the famous Doc from Doc and Jock, John Charles Macaroon. So maybe that matters to the ladies and will more and more as time goes on.
How many conversations have led with the phrase, you want to meet up?
Do you want to meet up? I get to that eventually, or do you want to hang out? So I have used that. That is in my lexicon.
Yeah.
It is in, my vocab when it comes to talking with the ladies, and that might mean something might develop right eventually with the ladies too.
It means it's time to hook up, right? Isn't that
time to hook up and do, what does that mean? I don't even know. I'm joking. But I want to get in touch with the ladies and find out about their inner being and their soul and who they are as people, Doc.
Okay, we got to follow up with this in the coming weeks. Next week, I won't be on Tiger Talk or Hombres. Vito's going to take charge, bring on his own guests and things like that. Maybe even have Blair or whoever he wants to work with in the next week because I'll be on vacation. I can't wait. I'll recap
Soaking up the rays in Florida,
Soaking up the rays, having a good time at a family wedding. I'm driving down there. So tales from a road trip I'll have in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, too, we can tease it. I do want you to kind of keep notes on your Tinder stats and how many times you're swiping, how many matches, and maybe your game of what you're typing and things like that. It can be very fun. I'm looking forward to it, Vito. A great recording, man. I had fun this week. Very good stuff. I think that you getting a new co-host lit a fire under me. I feel good. I feel like I brought it. I made very minimal mistakes. Very little editing for you to do this week. I like it. Very good stuff, Vito.
And you let me speak for the most part, which I like with you as my co-host.
Great time, sir. Let's get out of here. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. You'll hear from others besides the Doc in the week ahead. So if the network goes down like American Idol, sorry, I'm on vacation. Peace out, y'all.
So you can blame it on me. Look at that from the Doc. Adios, with that being said.